Welcome back. We're taking stock of what lies ahead of us in terms of the result season. Nischal Maheshwari, Gautam Dugad and Sanjeev Bhasin have been answering your questions on a variety of sectors. We have Nigel D'Souza, who's now joining in with essentially what we can expect from the metals space. Steel has especially been a very strong theme. Results for the entire space, ferrous, non-ferrous, are expected to be super strong. Nigel, what can we expect?
Well, from the metals pack, let's focus on the ferrous space first. Now, from the ferrous pack, we have JSPL as well as SAIL. Those volumes will look very, very good on the back of capacities that have come on stream. For Tata Steel, there was a bit of a shutdown, so their Kalinganagar unit did have a shutdown. That's what's going to affect their volumes over there. Though Citi as well as Morgan Stanley, they are very, very confident in terms of the EBITDA per ton expanding. They say that, in fact, the price increases of around 3,000 to around 4,000 rupees on a per ton basis, that's more than going to offset any kind of input costs that have spiked up. From the non-ferrous space for Hindalco, realizations will be good, both in the aluminium as well as in the copper segment. The copper volumes should be a bit of a dampener. Input costs have spiked up, so that's what could hurt the profitability. But PAT will get a boost because interest costs are likely to dip. Watch out for a very good set of numbers coming in from NALCO because alumina prices have gone through the roof.
Oh, well, gone through the roof. That reminds me, let's do realty as well and then go to our guest. Sonal, what do you expect from the real estate stocks? As well, if you can add a bit of media and liquor.
Well, for the real estate sector, we are expecting a weak quarter again because of low availability of credit, weaker demand, and also because companies have given a lot of discounts and have sold the inventory at lower prices. Expect Sobha to give a strong quarter because of stronger pre-sales and some traction in the DLF sales. Talking about the media companies, well, 13 to 14% ad revenue growth is what is expected overall, but that sort of ad revenue growth is not expected in the print companies. For multiplexes, we are expecting strong growth in revenues this time around because of release of Padmavat. In terms of liquor stocks, not so strong for USL this time around, expecting a 9% decline in volumes because of the franchising impact, but looks very good for United Breweries. We're expecting 12% volume growth and 8% growth in realization per case. That is because of the low base that they're working with and also because of upstocking in Maharashtra. So looks good this time around for United Breweries.
Wow, that was super to finish three sectors in what, 1.5 minutes, Sonal. Let's start with Nischal. Nischal, anything in realty you want us to be alert to?
So I think in case of real estate, I think a very interesting thing is happening. What we have been expecting that post GST, the movement from the unorganized to organized is going to happen. I think in case of real estate, you are seeing that kind of a shift happening. Now, obviously, RERA is also helping. So we are seeing that the unorganized guys, so people who had one or two projects, those people are getting squeezed out. Those developers are getting squeezed out, and the likes of the big names like Godrej, Lodha and all, basically, I think they are gaining on their pretense. So we are continue to seeing that strong players continue to show strong growth, whereas if you look at an overall basis, I think real estate space is slowing down definitely. So I think this transition is happening in the real estate space, and I think that's going to impact the current quarter.
Okay. Let's get to Gautam. Gautam, what would your thoughts be on the metal space?
So metals, I think this quarter is going to have another strong performance across the board again. But I think what we also need to remember in metals case is last 4 quarters they've had triple-digit earnings growth. This quarter they will have 30%. So growth moderation has set in. Our view has been very cautious on metals. We do believe that one should have booked profits. That's been our view since October, and we don't see any reason right now to change that view. Okay. Well, the numbers will look good. The large part of the rally is behind us.
Okay, Gautam, thanks for that. Let's now go on to the power sector. What can we expect from that space? And also the consumer durable space. Anisha tracks both those sectors, so let's get a quick preview on those sectors. Anisha, over to you.
Well,
we have been talking about the spot prices for power companies going higher given the increased demand, and now we know that the consumption is expected to grow by around 6% in the quarter 4. The PLF of the coal-fired plants also went up by 180 basis points, close to around 63% mark. In terms of stock-specific action, we expect NTPC to register 9% volume growth and a profit growth of around 5%. Power Grid has had a strong capitalization in the last 3-4 quarters. Expect the run rate to continue. 7,000 to 9,000 crores is what we expect this quarter, and a profit growth of around 20-25%, steady as steady can be. As far as the consumer durable space is concerned, the early onset of summer as well as the demand recovery trend is expected to play out for the companies this time around. For example, for Voltas, we are working with a 15 to 20% growth, and that is what we are expecting for the entire sector as well. Back to you.
Okay, and back to not me, but Reema, tell us about telecom.
Telecom has been the worst performing sector in the last few months. Revenues are expected to decline for the 7th straight quarter. In fact, Citi says revenues could be down a third compared to the Q1 FY17 peak. The key reasons been Jio turned aggressive in the month of January, as a result of which most of them cut the pricing of their data packs. So that will hurt. And secondly, the termination cost for international calls was also cut. Kotak expects Bharti to post a loss for the first time in the last 15 years. Idea is likely to post its 6th consecutive loss, while Bharti Infratel could also have a soft quarter because many of the smaller operators exited, so as a result of which they will face a tenancy loss. Some of the key commentary to watch will be merger details between Idea and Vodafone, is there traction in the Jio feature phone, and the outlook on pricing from here on.
Sanjeev, let's just tackle the power space first. I mean, you like anything there?
Yeah, so I think it will be good numbers from NTPC and Power Grid, both on the volume front. Maybe the margins be a little bit under pressure. But, you know, as a dark horse, we think that most of the weakness in the power finances may have played through. And if we do get some relief from RBI on the one-day provisioning, I think PFC, REC at 7.5% dividend yield at these prices offer a good opportunity, you know, in the short run for a trading stroke pullback rally, because we think too much of weakness has been done and too much of pessimism, which is being addressed as far as coal supplies and as far as the PPA agreements, which is very much on the cards to get a strong foothold in the next few months.
Yes, power has never looked so powerless, actually. But Gautam, Nishchal, consumer durables. I mean, it's a large number, but what would you like?
So I think consumer durables, given that there is a hot season around the corner, basically, and we are feeling the hotness as far as Mumbai is also concerned. We like the space, the AC space out there. Voltas is one of our top picks. And again, Havells remains to be an old favorite. But I think those are the two stocks basically which we like in consumer space.
Gautam, you know, since we're wrapping up, I want to give you the last word. Any specific stocks where you think you know one can be pleasantly surprised? Based on what you expect, and you know, you get a sense that company results can be much better across sectors.
I think,
yeah,
I think one needs to watch out the rural consumption themes very closely, because the commentaries from that part of the sector, whether it is auto, NBFC, consumer discretionary, has been quite strong. And it so happens that when you are used to a certain set of percentage growth rates or a certain band of a percentage growth rate, and when things change incrementally at a margin, you tend to, you know, underestimate that. So I would not be very surprised if you see a very significant outperformance from that segment of the market. Rural consumption theme.
Okay. So then a similar last question to you, Sanjeev. If we have to expect the unexpected, what will that unexpected be?
So like I said, Lata, you know, the beaten down and the, you know, biggest underperformers could be the outperformers, given that the construction space and the road building space So like I mentioned, the likes of Dilip Buildcon, Sadbhav Engineering, NBCC, L&T over there, or the core sector, real estate gainers, where market share is getting fastly, passed on to the larger players, where Godrej and Shobha Developers. And thirdly, Thermax, where again the industrial boiler side is doing extremely well on the profit side. So I would say this quarter will be earmarking their profitability, and execution would be the game point, whether it's this quarter or the next. But that would be the green shoots which you are looking out for going forward.
And winding up comments from you, Nischal, the unexpected?
I think engineering and capital goods. So recently I've been meeting a lot of companies, and one very interesting thing, they are saying that they have their order books full, and whether these are the compressor companies or the likes of Thermax and everybody else, they have been very, very strong about the capex, and this capex is not only coming from the government, but industries like cement, steel, food processing. So it seems that the private sector has also started coming into the capex. So I think that should be one sector to look out for, not only for this quarter, but for the next several quarters.
Okay, Nischal, thanks very much for your time. Gautam, appreciate you coming here. As always, with your insights. Sanjeev, thanks indeed for staying with us over the last hour.
And this quarter may be that quarter when we may, after all, get a double-digit earnings growth. Thanks very much for watching Quarter Se Quarter Tak.